Hello everybody, my name is Dom. Welcome back to another episode. Don't really know what to call this, but whatever. We'll figure it out along the way, or maybe the title will show it. Either way, we're going to talk about muzzleloaders. I know it's kind of different than history. I'm not going to get into history, I'm just going to talk about muzzleloaders themselves and their manual of arms, um, what they are, what people still use them for, and overall just a couple other things that I personally know and can pass this information down. What are muzzleloaders and why do they exist? Well, muzzleloaders are very simple. They are this. These are muzzleloaders. So what they are is they're very simple. Muzzleloaders mean one thing: loaders from the muzzle. Pretty simple. They're black powder, so in compared to your normal smokeless powder, which you'd see in normal firearms, this was the way you used to do it back then, was black powder. And so this is what they were. So the way they used to be is instead of a bolt like here on this, you would have a you'd have a flint and you have a flint and you'd have a spark pan, which then would lead into the actual load, and that would actually fire. So what you do is that you go to half cock. You load the barrel, go to half cock, put a little bit of powder in your spark pan, and then go full cock. Fire. The flint that is on your hammer would strike a piece of steel that would ignite the little flash pan, and then would ignite the actual powder through a small pinhole, and then you would actually fire your projectile at the other end. So there's that. It's down here. So that's what they are, and that's what they used to be. But now we're talking about modern muzzleloaders that are adapted for hunting or target shooting. So they're a lot more modernized in the sense that you don't have a flint and steel anymore. You use normal primers and powdered X pellets, which you can still use black powder, but from what I've seen, powdered X pellets are not only easier to handle, but they're also a little cleaner. We're going to talk about this muzzleloader, which is my personal muzzleloader that I've used for about a year or two now, whether it be hunting or just target shooting. So this is a Traditions Firearms Revolution Premier, which normally these things come in 26-inch barrels with a Cerakote finish like you see here, but actually it is, this is a 32-inch barrel with a muzzle brake on the end here. What else do we got? So we're going to talk about this rifle a little bit more. So we got, normally these muzzleloaders are in 1/28 twist, which if you don't know what that is the rifling itself. One full revolution of the rifling in 28 inches. Common myths about muzzleloaders. It really depends. So you got what normal people talk about. From what I've heard, it's always been oh, why are you using old technology? Well, yes, in a sense you're right, but you're also wrong. If you're going to talk about muzzleloaders in a military manner, yes, they have been outdated for ever since smokeless powder became a thing and cartridges were actually cartridges. Doesn't mean people didn't still use them, but they're still outdated. Another thing would be for civilian use. So civilian use, they're still practical as all can be. You can extend your hunting, or you just really enjoy shooting black powder, which I've seen a couple people do that. But most of the time it's for hunters who want to get more out of their season. So you got archery, you got normal rifle or shotgun, and then you have muzzleloader. We're going to talk about loads. So I personally got myself a couple of my stuff here that I can show you. So you can load a muzzleloader in two ways. One, you can do it all by hand, or you can get speed loaders, which are these little things, which are very simple. One end holds powdered X pellets, as you can see here. Well, this one's actually used. I gotta save that for when I teach you how to load it. Let's find the one that's actually not. There we go. So you got one end holds powdered X pellets, which this is. Yeah, you got one end that holds powdered X pellets, and you got one end holds the actual slug. But yeah, we'll get back to that in a second. So what you do when you're loading this thing, first of all, make sure you have no primer in it, which we'll tell you about that next. What you do is you stand it on the ground, point it away from you, load your powdered X pellets, flip the speed loader around, put in your slug, and make sure it's face up so don't do that. Then you take your rammer up, and you ram it all the way in. Make sure you don't crush the powdered X pellets. Once you're done with that, you should be ready to go. And at this point, this rifle is still safe. Now, unlike, smokeless, where you got your cartridge and as soon as it's loaded, you're ready to go. This, you got another process, which is a little primer. So right here, you got your breech plug, which is right in here, which I'll show you in a little bit. You got your breech plug, you got your nipple, and inside of that breech plug is a small pinhole that conjoins where you put your primer and your actual powder is. So after that, you put your, you got your primer, all that ready to go, fire, and then shoot. That's manual of arms for it. Let's show you how to load one of these. Alright, so to load one of these, it's very simple. You got a couple things. First of all, this is my load. Other people use different ones. Personally, I use, it's maybe a 50 caliber barrel, but I use 45 with a crushed rib sabot. Ooh, but yeah, let's go right into it. So give me a second. We got the actual rounds. You should probably see it. You can't see this, can you? You got your sabots, powdered X pellets, and I use boar butter, but that's just a personal thing. So it's very simple to put this together. First thing you do, take, personally these, if I remember correctly, yeah. So these are 250 grain, 45 caliber, jacketed hollow points. Right there. What you do, you take that, you take your crushed rib sabot, right here. The way these work is, if you don't know about these, the way they work is very simple. You have 50 caliber barrel, 45 caliber bullet. There's about, can't really rifle that well. So what this does is when this thing fires, the energy forces these little basically like fins almost to match the rifling of the barrel, and so you can still get good twist out of it, stabilizes your bullet. It makes it accurate instead of being a smooth bore. So yeah, I'm going to bring this in closer, but for right now I'm just naming all things. And you got powdered X pellets, which is basically, it's black powder in a pellet form. So it's not all loose. It's pretty nice. And then you got boar butter, which does a couple of things. It reduces your fouling, which if you don't know, black powder fouls up a lot, and that's why it needs to be cleaned a little more often, because black powder is very corrosive and it can fuck up your gun pretty easily. So that's why I use boar butter not only when I'm cleaning, but when there's a little bit there's a recess in the bottom of the sabot that I use just to help contain everything. But yeah, I'm going to move you in closer and show you how to load one of these. Alright, so here we are. Very simple. We have the 45 caliber, 250 grain jacket hollow point right there. Damn it, you still can't see it. There you go, jacket hollow point. Then you got your crushed rib sabot right there. And then you have powdered X pellets. Right there. Very simple. So this is and then you got your speed loader. So what you do is you take your, see this little recess I'm talking about? There you go. So what you do is you take your boar butter, squeeze just a little bit out on there. There you go. There you go. Done. Little recess in there is filled up with boar butter. Like I said, helps the fouling and containment of, just keeping everything nice and packed neat. So what you do, then you take your 45 caliber, you see that little fins I'm talking about, take your bullet and you put it in there like that. You're done. That's what it is right there. So you got two ends here. You got one end that is deep, another one that is shallow. And what that is that you have your powdered X pellets, your powdered X pellets and your slugs in two different places. So, just like this one, if you look how these are loaded, that's that. You have two like that. Now I use two, some people use 3 or 1.5. I like to keep it simple. 2 has been plenty. So what you do is you take your powdered X pellets, 1, 2. Boom. You're good to go. Then you take your slug. Now this is very simple. So now this is where people get a lot wrong. Because what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to make sure that when you load it, you're going to be dumping, right? So if you're going to put the bullet in, you don't want to put the round in backwards, all right? So when this thing's falling out, you want to make sure that your end is going to be towards the middle of the loader, right? So just like this. And boom, you're good to go. So like I said, very simple. This is my personal thing. Other people use different ones, but it's pretty good to show you guys what these are. One more thing about these. You have not only your... Now I talked about primers, which I'll show you right here. So you got your tool. Let me fix this. Let me fix that. There we go. So you get your tool. You get your actual primers. So you can use, now these are shot shell primers by CCI. Sometimes they're called, muzzle loading primers, whatever. They're the same thing. Basically, they're similar to a shotgun shell primer. So what they are, so what you do is very simple. Take your rifle here. And you have this nipple right in here. I can't know if you can see that very well, but right here, there's a little nipple where you take your. Let me just set this down. Take your primer. Let me get it out of here. Actually, let me just show you a new one. Take your primers, which you got right here. Ooh. Take your primer. You usually would have it on your tool like that, and then you just insert, push, and pull, and that will. And there's a little recess to where this primer would go, right? But of course, right now I'm not going to show you because that would be dangerous. But yeah, that's the simplicity of it. Now we're going to talk about disassembly and cleaning. So for cleaning, very simple. Let me get this out of the way. These to the other side. Loading. Now, I got a cleaning kit off the internet. You can usually find them pretty simple. But you have two different types of things. So I personally like to use bore snakes, which if you don't know about them, basically it's better than the cleaning rods. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a rod that you can fold out, and you can tie them together. You have a little end where you can take basically kind of like a napkin but more reinforced, and you go ahead and you shove it on through there. Keep doing that. It takes a long time. Other known than these are a lot simpler, but I'll show you that after I take apart the plug. So this rifle itself is very simple. What you do on that, so it's just like any other bolt action. Hold the trigger down, pull out the bolt. Boom, you're done. That's literally all the disassembly you need to get at the breech plug. So I got a tool here, made by Traditions themselves as well. Very good stuff. There we go. And what it is that it's a little key, similar to an Allen key. So you got two ends. You got two different ends, but usually you only need one. So you got this end right here. As you can see, there's a little recess in there that basically grabs onto the breech plug and spins it out. So make sure I do this. Stick it in. Make sure it locks with the breech plug. Then go. So now just unscrew it. A little bit tight. It's been about a full season's worth since I last touched this rifle. But regardless, the thing is still clean. I haven't been fired in a while. There you go. There you go. Breech plug done. So got the breech plug out. Like I said, can't really see it here, but there is a little pinhole in that. So this is a solid breech plug. The original one this came with was a two-part system of nipple and plug. It's a lot easier just to go on the internet and find yourself a solid plug. Not only are they more reliable, but it's just easier for cleaning. So Now, after you got that undone, you can go ahead and take your brush, your hops number 9, and whatnot, and clean the plug itself. Clean the plug, as well as your action and your bolt. So what you do with the bore snake, very simple. You can put hops number 9, you can use lubricating oil and whatnot. But these, very simple. It's a long base cord, kind of like a cord. What you do is you take this little end piece, you slide it down through the barrel. And what this does, this makes it just, you can feed it real easy through there. Comes through the other end. Stand the rifle on its butt. Grab good hold of the end you just pulled in, and pull. And as you can see, it's pretty clean because this rifle's been cleaned. That's how you do it. You do that a couple times, and then you go ahead and check the rifle, or check your barrel for any residue. You want to make sure it's pretty clean, because last thing you want is your rifling or your barrel to be messed up by the corrosion from the black powder. That should be about everything. Let me think here. Just about everything. Yeah, that's pretty much it for cleaning, so let's put it back together. Same process, take the plug, go ahead and insert it. You can do it by hand, very simple like that, because these threads are massive. One thing I didn't say, which I should now, before you put it on, use a little bit of war butter and go ahead and put it on the threads of your breech plug. Pretty simple, helps with sealing. It's great. I've been using this setup, and my rifle's been working fine for years. Even my father's muzzleloader that he uses, no problem at all. He's had it longer than I've had this. So then you take your tool through there. Come on. Yeah, see. So what you do, then you take that. Go ahead and keep turning. Keep till it's finger tight, which would be here in a second. There you go. Finger tight. Take your tool and give it a little bit of turn just to make sure. So after that, you're done with that. I keep saying that a lot, but whatever. Then take. You're done. That is the history, how you clean, how you load, and basically that is the muzzleloader. Modern muzzleloader, I should say. If you do have any questions or anything at all you want to ask me, go ahead and put it down in the comments. If you want to see more like this, give it a like, share this around, because, the more people that see this, the more people get educated. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.